It is a cold day in April in the year 1984. The world is divided into three superstates, Oceania, Eurasia, and Eastasia, who are deadlocked in a permanent state of war. In Airstrip 1, Oceania, formerly known as England, citizens are being ruled by the party. In order to preserve their power, the party keeps its citizens under continual surveillance, monitoring even their thoughts. Any individuals who show signs of discontent, doublethink, or nonconformity are to be immediately arrested and vaporized. Winston Smith, a frail man of 39 years, is one of these contributing outer party members. He is insignificant to the larger totalitarian regime, and although technically a member of the ruling class, his entire life is still under the party's control.
In preparation for Hate Week, all the electricity is being turned off. Hate Week is an event to increase the hatred of the members for the enemy party. They claim that Emmanuel Goldstein is the alleged leader of the Brotherhood and is the most dangerous man alive. The hate practices are targeted towards pictures of him on the telescreens. The telescreens are the party's main tool to control people. Telescreens are devices which operate as televisions, security cameras, and microphones.
Big Brother is watching you.
Pyramidal ministries: the Ministry of Truth, the Ministry of Love, the Ministry of Peace, and the Ministry of Plenty. Plastered on the Ministry of Truth is the party slogan: war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Each of the ministries represent one of the main powers in contrast to their names of the party, such as the control of time and stories, control of people's actions and crimes, as well as the control of the corrupt economy. Winston writes what he believes is the date, 4th of April, 1984. He writes about a film he saw recently where some refugees are on a boat that was being bombed by a helicopter. He specifically writes about a woman defending her child from the bullets using her own body as a shield.
In Chapter 2, a knock is heard at the door. Although Winston thinks it must be the thought police arriving to arrest him for writing in his diary the night before, to his relief it is only his neighbor, Mrs. Parsons. Here, Orwell establishes who the junior spies are. The junior spies are an organization of children who watch adults committing disloyalty to the party and frequently succeed in catching them. Winston is on edge because Mrs. Parsons' children belong to this community.
No major events occur in Chapter 3. Winston only has a dream and continuous flashbacks to his childhood. This is so the readers can obtain background information on Winston and realize that he can't recall many events from his early life.
And throws the old text down a memory hole to be incinerated. We also establish that a significant aspect of the party's oppression is the forced repression of sexual appetite. This is where the party are not allowing the citizens to have a sexual relationship and limiting their freedom.
Insight into the daily lives of an outer party member. Victory cigarettes, Victory gin, and basically a low quality of life. They are all led to believe that they have to ration and live this disgusting way of life.
Introduced to the new language the party is trying to spread, called Newspeak. It's basically the destruction of words, which allows there to be less descriptions to explain things. If one can no longer formulate a meaning for something, Winston realizes that soon actual things will become unthinkable. The idea of a language is to narrow the range of thought, which would make doublethink and thought crime literally impossible. It is an advantage to the party.
Wow, the Newspeak dictionary. Julia is a younger woman and co-worker who also works in the Ministry of Truth, but in the fictional department. She keeps staring at him, and he is worried that he will out him out for thought crime. He also keeps thinking that the dreams and run-ins with her are not so coincidental, and believes there is something more to it, that it means something bigger. He is still suspicious, though, as she could be an agent from the party out to turn him in. Another more significant event is that Winston later reflects that the act of sex should be enjoyable, contrary to the party's belief. He then writes that he wants to have enjoyable sex, but this would be a massive crime. But he would do it to have the freedom from the party.
Throughout the novel so far, the proles who make up the vast majority of the population, around 80%, have appeared as rather insignificant characters as they are happy and clueless. However, when Winston reflects again in his diary on a later night, he realizes that the only hope of any change is through the proles.
The change is in the proles.
Julia is walking in the corridor, and after numerous days of suspicion, she somehow manages to slip Winston a note in front of a telescreen, reading, "I love you." Although positively reassured, he still initially remains apprehensive because he still doesn't know if she is working as a spy or for the Thought Police.
Here they made plans with great difficulty to meet again in a crowded place, and they agreed to meet in a special hiding place out in the country, without telescreens. When they meet, Julia finally tells Winston her name, which he had not yet established. She also removes her anti-sex league sash, a disguise for her rebellious sexual acts. They finally spark up a romantic relationship and offers Winston the opportunity to oppose the party. Julia says she has done this numerous times, and enjoys it. It is her way of committing a private crime against the party. Winston loved this. "The more men you've been with, the more I love you," he states.
And have discreet sex. Unlike Winston, Julia is not interested in a full rebellion. She just likes manipulating the party and being cheeky, not totally controlled. Apparently, she thinks that the party forbids sex so that the frustration is driven into the hatred to party enemies, and consequently, then more loyalty to Big Brother.
After weeks of blossoming love between Winston and Julia, Winston takes her to the room he rented above Mr. Charrington's second-hand shop in the Prole district, the same place Winston bought his diary. Here they continue to discuss plans of rebellion and continue to have discreet sex as a private victory against the party. Winston still thinks he is doomed and will be caught sooner or later, but Julia remains pragmatic and optimistic.
Soon, Winston meets with O'Brien, another inner party member who he was suspicious of, and explains to him all of his and Julia's anti-party plans. O'Brien states he is working against the party as well in a group called the Brotherhood. He gave Winston a copy of Emmanuel Goldstein's book, The Manifesto of the Brotherhood. However, Winston showed too much trust in O'Brien. Soon after, when Winston was reading the book in his rented room alongside Julia, a voice spoke from behind him and stated he was defeated. There was a secret telescreen in the room. Shortly after, police swarmed the room and took them away. Mr. Charrington, the store owner, is then revealed as having been a member of the Thought Police all along.
After Winston was captured and was put in the Ministry of Love, it was revealed O'Brien was a party spy who pretended to be part of the Brotherhood to trap Winston into committing an open act of rebellion against the party. Here he tortured Winston for months on end and forced him to change his thoughts. After some time, Winston is sent to the terribly dreaded Room 101. Here Winston confronts his worst fear, rats. O'Brien, exploiting this, strapped a cage of rats on Winston's face so they would eat him, but he couldn't take it and told O'Brien to torture Julia and not him. This is a significant point because this is the moment he broke.
For the party, he had given up on Julia. They succeeded in breaking his spirit. Winston is released to the outside world. He meets Julia, but no longer feels anything for her. He has accepted the party's control and has learned to love Big Brother.